getting us fed. The generator was installed this week up at the fire department. Bazine Electric got it installed. McCann Plumbing was in hooking up the gas and getting that going. So when they're ready, 3E will come over and teach us how to run it and go through all the maintenance and all that on that. So hopefully within a week or so it'll be up running. Ladder testing was completed on Tuesday. I'm waiting for the report. It passed ladder testing, but there are some issues that I will need to address here this year for maintenance on the truck. So that'll be coming. And the last thing is we have Special Olympics again out at Dunkin' Donut on Friday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to noon. So you'll have the police department out there. Burlington always comes out and helps us out, and we'll get up on the roof hopefully this year if the weather cooperates. And we've raised a lot of money for the Special Olympics the last 3 or 4 years that we've done this. So it's a good time. We get very active community involvement and donating to us. So got a lot going on here the last few weeks and next couple weeks. So
do we have testing then coming up too?
We do have police officer testing on Saturday. 7 applicants that returned their applications. No certified officers this time around. So the academy changed it up on us. We cannot reserve a spot until we have somebody picked out. So that means we won't get that person into the academy until January. So it's going to be until probably July or so, between July and August, before the person's out on their own. So we're looking for a whole nother year of being shorthanded. That's just how long it takes to get somebody through the academy and training and all that, unfortunately.
Is that 7? How many applications did you applications you guys get?
I had 31 say they were interested, or when we put it out on Indeed, but we only had 7 fill out the application to test. A lot of forklift drivers. It seems like that's all I get is forklift drivers.
Okay. Thanks,
Jesse,
Chief.
does the position stay open for qualified applicants, like certified officers, they could still apply, or is that closed already?
That closed last week.
That's done. There's
Yep.
no chance that we get somebody who's qualified.
Yeah.
That's because you have to order the test, isn't it, Chief?
Yep. So.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yep.
Kelly, anything?
I thought I would mention that they are short-staffed at the pool, so they are not going to be able to open on the 9th or the 10th. They just are down to about 9 guards now, and they would only have, I think, 3 available, and it's just not feasible to do that. Along with, in your packet, there's Saturday, August 24th is the Humane Society's event at Pat Klein Park, the Dog Days of Summer, and also Touch the Truck is out at the mall. So Public Works and Police and Fire, I assume, will have some vehicles out there for that event.
Thank you. Angie, anything?
Yeah, there's auditors were here this week. They were here on location yesterday and today. So they're finished up here, so everything else is going to be an email just going back and forth between us all.
Okay. Thank you. Melanie, anything from you?
Greg, do we have the SCC meeting, September 23rd at SCC? Is that firmed up? For
Oh, the
sure
joint
that's gonna
meeting?
happen?
Yes, that date is good, and SEC can hold it there. I'll double check with Chad, but that date was good.
So Monday, September 23rd, and is the time set too, or is it flexible yet? 4 to 5, was that?
4 to 5 was their preference.
Okay.
If we need to do something different, let's talk about it now real quick.
Does that work on, Monday the 23rd?
That
4
works.
to 5.
Good.
Okay. Good. 4 to 5 p.m. Kelly kind of answered how the pool's going. Coming in on fumes to the end of the season, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Chase could probably talk to some of the mechanical issues we've had over there, but yeah, it's just trying to get by with the few that have worked a lot of hours this summer that are still trying to put in time, but doing what they can.
We were over Sunday. It was a great turnout. It was gorgeous out. Guards are doing a great job. No issues. So it's just a matter of we need guards. We need bodies.
Well, and
Certified lifeguards.
I think, however, make the decision not open because we can't safely operate with the right, proper staffing is the right answer, even though we'd love to have it open. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Therese?
I don't have anything.
Okay. John?
Yeah, me and Ringo went out to Sunset, like we said we would after the meeting, and talked to all those people out there. And well, I say all. It wasn't all. There was what, 3 Ringo,
Three we have not made contact
3
with.
we didn't make contact with. There was 2 that hadn't decided. And then the rest of them was almost an immediate yes. Pretty much that's the way it went. We went out there not persuading. We actually took the packet that Greg had gave us and handed it to him. And Ringo did an awesome job of talking to him. He knew most of them out there, and he did most of the talking, but it went well. And one fellow was like, he couldn't make it here last week, and he was just jumping for joy that if there was a chance to put that in. And correct me if anything I'm saying is not quite right.
No, that's accurate, because they've had call in on their septic system twice just in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And John was getting teased by one of the guys pretty good, but it was a good teasing.
Yeah.
And they started talking about our street guys, and for a moment we thought, and nothing but compliments towards the street department from several people that we had talked to, which was awesome. I thought it was awesome, and John laid it out for him pretty good on it. So, and what we had was like there's 16 families there. And one family owns 2 different residents of the 16 families, and we didn't have 3 contact. One was they didn't know for sure. 12 yeses, and one person that owns land there is going to build a house up there. Wanted to do that, the upper farmland. So they were very interested in it. So,
Yeah.
So-
And he was one that was not on the list.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 16 families, 16 houses currently?
There's 17 houses, or there's 16 houses, but there will soon be 17 once the other one gets through. And one family owns 2 different houses. And, John, there was 3 families that were getting ready to pass their homes on to their children when they're up to that age, that senior age. That's the goal, is to pass their homes off to their children. And one was unknown yet. We couldn't make contact with the son on that in there.
What was really kind of a surprise was a couple of them that you may not have thought wanted it was like, we've already talked about it, yes, before you ever got anything out. I mean, it was like, please, type thing.
Some just didn't make it to the meeting.
Yeah.
And John got to reunite with some old fellow employees that he didn't know, so, that worked there.
So, see, what else? I think that's about the way it all went.
Could I follow up on that? Just real quick with some additional information. So we likely need to have a discussion item at the council level to see if this is a project the council wishes to proceed with. And if so, potential funding options and annexation, which I was able to get from Austin and able to track down. There is a process by which folks can enter into a binding agreement with the Department of Health and for up to 2 years. And should the city not put in sewer, then they would have to, at that point in time, upgrade their septic systems. This annexation occurred before the City Development Board was in place. It was challenged back in the 70s, and just in short, from what I took through a quick read through here, there was no commitment to put in utilities, but in a nutshell, it said the city had the ability to raise taxes to cover the cost of additional services. Regarding water and sewer, the city had unused geo-obligation bonding capacity. It said that the city was capable is the word that was used constantly throughout here, of extending services. Sanitary sewer was close enough, and the city had capacity, and it was capable of extending it, were the key terms throughout the document. That it was possible to design and construct sanitary sewer, no unusual problems. And then it identified that historically there had been a practice of special assessments, at least at that time. And they identified 5 or 6 different projects in here where they had special assessed the projects. So they identified special assessment, raising taxes, and bonding capacity as potential funding sources in this document, the city at that time. So that's kind of it in a very brief nutshell. There's a lot of information there that I ran through real quick. So,
John was real clear on when we were talking to the folks that this process is going to take a while. It's well over a year probably. That they were aware of it, and the responsibilities of the homeowners and the responsibilities of this, if the city proceeded in the process of going forward, how it would work. So it was a clear understanding. I don't think anybody.
It wasn't like there was anything hidden.
Yeah. So everybody was completely, that said yes, had a real clear understanding what would happen and how long it would take, because government, obviously there has to be a process and going through the studies and stuff like that and an approval process.
And it was made clear that there would be runners going to the main, from their houses, and that would be the obligation of the homeowners. And there was not one that said anything about it, that they
Not
weren't.
really.
Then also, right away was brought up, and nobody said no. Nobody said that they would argue about right away to get to the sewer. So now, will that change tomorrow? But I think in our process of looking up this thing, I think Greg found where, or at least I found, where there's right away for sewer and water already out there. So
you sent a photograph from one of the homeowners.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But next step really seems to be a discussion with the council, lay out the cost, funding mechanisms, and I need, before we go any further with it, I think that's probably the next step, but to have a discussion at the next council meeting to see what direction the council as a body wishes to go, what the priorities are, so.
So I know there's one person out there is having a person come out for the sewer, and he's having a problem. So, whether that stretches out a year or not would depend on how much he has to do to it. There is another person that's selling, and they have a contractor ready to come in and put a septic tank in if this doesn't go through. So we probably, if we're gonna do it, we probably ought to.
Well, they can contact Greg Lemke, they can, and the Board of Health, and they do have the ability to enter into that binding agreement. We're not a party to it. The owner and the Board of Health or their representative, which I believe would be Greg Lemke, can enter into a binding agreement up to 2 years. And if it,
And they can sell it?
that's my understanding, yes. So, I talked to DNR.
About the 2 years only if we're in a process of putting it in. 'Cause otherwise, I can never get more than 4 months.
Yeah, I mentioned it to him and indicated that we had made a decision on it, that we were discussing sanitary sewer out there, and if we were looking to proceed, what mechanism they had. And the only mechanism they had was that binding agreement.
Yeah.
And it was going to be up to the Board of Health, not up to the city, but up to the Board of Health or their representative, if they've delegated that to Greg Limpy, if that's been to enter into that binding agreement with the homeowner. And they would dictate the terms and conditions. We're not a party to that agreement.
Right.
So that is a process that they could, if I was the homeowner, that's the next step I would take, would be to contact the Board of Health or Greg to kind of coordinate that.
But
To
Greg
talk
didn't
about
know
that.
about that at all.
Yes, he does.
He does now.
I use that binding agreement with Greg once a month. But,
Short one. 3 months or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
only in winter months when it can't be done before closing. Okay, otherwise, that 2-year deal is, if the city's entering in something, that's where that comes into play. They won't do it more than, a construction season if it's just a homeowner.
Anything else, John?
But we're not, my understanding is we're not required to make a commitment as part of that binding agreement. So that's my only rationale. So I guess that would be up to those two parties to negotiate.
So is there a time that we can sit down and we can talk about this and either go one way or the other here, or see if there's an interest, so we just don't let this die?
I was going to put a discussion item on for the next agenda.
Next agenda.
Next
No.
agenda?
2 weeks from now at the next council meeting.
I will not be here that night.
Would you like to do it a different night or earlier or?
Well, to me, you had to have an effective discussion. It'd be nice to have, like, some, would we have any cost estimates of any kind, or?
I've got the preliminary cost
Yeah,
estimates
okay.
already.
Okay.
that, we handed out. I've got the information on the annexation, which there doesn't appear to have been a requirement that we do it, just that we had the capability of doing it. And then, how are you going to fund it? And I've started to lay those options out as well. So, I mean, those are really the three options. One, are you interested in doing it? And where does it fall in your priorities? And how would you pay for it if you are interested in proceeding with the project? So, but so would you like to push out a meeting, or would you like to try to set up a special meeting, or what day was the Burlington one? I guess we could do it
I
after the
don't
Burlington
often
one.
miss meetings, but that's one I would like to be at.
Right.
We could move it to that next one on the 4th. Otherwise, if you want to set up a special one, that's fine. Worst case, I'm not involved.
Was that September?
Oh, I think,
Joint meeting was September or
So
August?
go 4 weeks from now then, for
In the first one in September?
2 weeks, so you won't be here 2
Yeah.
weeks, and then, so the next one after that.
September 4th is the next regular meeting.
Right.
Right. Let's put that to the 4th then.
Another bit of information I'd like to have as we look at that is, do we have other areas within the city limits that are similar to the Sunset area? Like, do we? Because honestly, I didn't know this exists.
what's that?
Do we have another area within our city limits, a similar situation where they're within limits, but we don't provide them? And it's a number of houses.
The other side of Sunset.
The other side of Sunset has some homes, but in many cases, I think it's mainly just individual homes, other than the other side of Sunset, excuse me, North Sunset, how's that? North Sunset, those homes there, what is there, 3 homes on that side? And then there's an occasional home, then there's still the one over in West Burlington,
So no other set thing where we got this
No,
concentration?
no large
of
concentration
homes?
like that, no.
Probably, what about out 406 south of there, south of Sunset?
But imagine 406,
Yeah.
right? There's water out that way, but no sewer,
Yeah.
right? Those individual homes out there, there's, what, 3, 4?
Yeah, there's
I'm
probably
trying,
more than
is
that.
there more than that?
7?
I haven't counted lately.
7, I think there is. Yes, 7.
I mean, let's look at a comprehensive plan, because we don't have a problem, right? We're just trying to address a need that's arisen where we have residents within the city who don't have sewer provided to them, right?
Right.
And where do they get their water? Because we have the fire hydrant on the other side, but they don't, do they have their own separate water system, well, or?
I think they got water, don't
They
they?
have water.
Yeah, they got water.
The sewer's
It's
just
just
on
sewer.
the backs, closer to the tracks, on the other side of the street.
Yep.
And there's fire hydrants all the way down in front of that whole row, all the way down to the end, even way down there. And, yeah.
Okay, we'll plan on a month from now then
September 4th?
for discussion. Yep, September 4th.
I'll take the memo that we put together, or my talking points, and I'll add some additional pieces to it, so you'll have it in front of you. So,
Thank you. Andy, anything from you?
Oh, one late 4th of July sponsor, Kobo, sent us a very generous check, so thank you to them, and I think that's it on 4th stuff. Should be wrapped up. Thank you.
Actually, when I was driving down your Lane Street, had, not Lane, but Houston, off of Gear there next to Schottenkirk. I seen a gentleman out there pulling weeds, and it was an employee from Schottenkirk. He was just taking his time, which I thought was pretty. I talked to him. His name is Mr. Kenny Schaefer, and he took the time to de-weed that area. He goes, he was there, and he just had a truck, and he just did it. And I thought that was pretty cool that you'd see a citizen, go out and just do that. And it was a hot day, but that was the time. He thought now to do it, so he did. And yeah, I just want to shout out, thank you very much for that. That's it.
Thank you. I want to thank you too for your work with the residents out in that area. I think that's quite a commendable thing to do, so thanks again. We'll go on to,
Ron, one quick thing. Some of us been kicking around the idea of putting together a fall fun festival here, and we're not gonna do that. Take us
Okay.
off the agenda, off the calendar. If I've talked to anybody about it, not happening.
okay, thank you. Any citizen inquiries? Seeing none, and we have no old business, I'll go into the first item in new business. Consider resolution temporarily restricting the use of portions of Pat Klein Park during the Des Moines County Humane Society event, Dog Days of Summer, on Saturday, August 24th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion on this?
What, are you gonna tape it off, or?
They're working with, they were trying to identify some fencing, that didn't work out. They're looking for snow fencing from Burlington. We don't have the snow fencing that they can utilize, but they're working to identify. I think they also contacted some local companies as well. They're looking for a way to block off some of those, or at least portions of it, during their event.
So I could provide parking real cheap on my lot?
Put a little sign up, just don't put it in the right of way. In fact, you can hold it, just don't put it in,
Oh, no. I got cones to put in.
put it on your forehead.
Well, seeing no more discussion, call for a vote.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Motion carries. Go to our second item. Consider a request to remove the handicap parking in front of 118 West Wheeler Street.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
What's there now? I mean, what's the business there now?
It's apartments. It's apartment con.
Strictly apartments, it's
The
no,
backside
Like where
has,
City Hall was.
where the parking is some kind of clinic.
Medical.
But the entrance on the Wheeler side is into his apartments.
This was added when it was temporary city hall, this parking spot. Mark went through and counted up the spaces in the downtown. We have sufficient ADA parking spaces, at least per code. This one was added when it was a public facility.
So is there one for the business in the back?
Yes.
That'd be a private parking in the back.
Is there still a handicap parking back there for,
I think he
I
said,
guess-
yeah, it has to because it's a business.
that's what
Should
I
be
was.
right back there.
yeah.
I think it's right up in the middle there, but I'd have to go back and check.
There's a ramp to that building up the back there too, so.
From that parking lot that they shared with Robert.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to number 3. Consider a resolution approving and adopting a revenue purpose statement for the use of revenue from electric franchise fees for Eastern Iowa Light and Power.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
There's no difference other than I swapped out the name of the company, Eastern RAC versus Alliant.
Call for a voice vote? No, call for a regular vote.
Crowner,
No.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert.
Motion carries. We'll go to number 4. Consider resolution authorizing internal advance for funding of urban renewal project, comprehensive plan and zoning code update project.
Motion approve. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, then I'll call for a vote.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 5, consider resolution authorizing internal advance for funding of urban renewal project, stormwater master plan project.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
Greg,
Yeah.
can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. This is just or I guess these 3 items are simply the official step to create debt for tax increment financing purposes, and it'll be included on the annual urban renewal report and TIF report that goes to the county. These 3 projects are paid for out of the undesignated fund balance that was identified earlier, so we're not going to be collecting any new TIF for these projects, simply using undesignated fund balance. But this is the process you go through on an annual basis when you have or a need to create debt for a particular project. It's called an internal advance. It simply creates the debt that's required in order to utilize the TIF.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear here. There's really no new income coming on this TIF project, right?
There's no TIF project. We're using the
Stormwater?
undesignated fund balance that we had identified some time back on these 3 projects.
Using TIF to
TIF undesignated fund
fund
balance.
this.
Right.
So I'll save it for later. Okay.
Okay, call for a voice vote. No, call for a regular vote, excuse me.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll go to our third one, number 6. Resolution authorizing internal advance for funding of urban renewal project, the Agency Street Trail and Sidewalk Project.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion on this? Call for a vote then.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so we're to our last item, which is consider offering an end of the season bonus to swimming pool staff.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion. Any discussion?
How many employees are we talking?
9.
9,
Well,
10.
lifeguards. I'm not sure how many concession staff we have left.
3 or 4, I believe, and then assistant manager, or not, I guess 2 co-managers. But one of them's a lifeguard.
2 of them are lifeguards. Well, the
The
assistant.
assistant the co-managers. One's a lifeguard, one's not a lifeguard. So, we have a few ideas for next year, but we'll look to bring that back. The key to whatever we do is attracting lifeguards, so.
So the purpose of the 100 is because they went over and beyond.
Well, if you recall in my update, it was going to start while, it was backdated to the, is that the right, yeah, the
July
19th, on there. And it was to incent them to, one, maintain their regular schedule hours, average hours through the 18th, or the 19th is cleanup day. And these are the 9 lifeguards plus that have been there and working and making the pool operate as best they can with the staff that we have. But to have them work through the end of the season,
So
most importantly.
we're paying the lifeguards, but we're not paying the concessions?
It's swimming pool staff. Swimming pool staff, all of them.
So it is concessions?
As long as they're maintaining their hours through the end of the season.
It does include
I'd rather
concessions.
incentivize the people that are lifeguards.
But-
Honestly, I mean, that's the ones that, we can get concession staff. It's the lifeguards, and maybe those concession staff want to turn into lifeguards, but,
We need them both. We need them all.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, if they're all staying, they're all helping, they're all doing, it's the lifeguards where we're struggling.
So for clarity, it's, tell me who we're paying. The-
All swimming pool staff according to the resolution.
So that includes the concession staff
Yes.
people.
It does include concession.
And that's 9.
9, and a total of 9 lifeguard, people that are certified lifeguards.
By lifeguards, 3 or 4 concession and
$1,200.
2 managers.
$1,400 total to get them to stay to the end of the season, instead of saying being done on the 16th of August. We need them.
School's coming up. Starts on the
Kelly staying till
26th.
the end of the season. Chase is staying, I think, till the end of the season. John's staying till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify. And then I see that we have reduced the pool rates from $4 to $2. Do we have that on the city website anywhere for people to know that?
I thought she was gonna put something out about it. We did that mainly because we weren't able to keep all of the equipment open. The little slide was having some mechanical issues. We were having to reduce our hours a lot just to keep it open. Started having people calling that had got season passes even that wanted reimbursed for them. So, I mean, that was just kind of it made sense. I mean, if we were open with all the things open, it doesn't make sense to reduce it, but when we're closed, having to close early or not open because of staffing,
So then it'd be wise.
They've been rotating
Season pass next year?
I think we need to talk about quite a few things doing, for next year, including wages for the lifeguards, but, they've been alternating the blue slide. The most popular feature is the, I don't know, what do you call that? Water walk. The yellow slide and the diving board, when they can. We've had some pH problems, so the deep end hasn't been open, so they haven't been able to utilize those a few days when the pH was off, and they dumped in the chemicals to get that back on track, so. But they've been trying to keep that blue slide open, and they've been keeping the water walk open as much as possible.
What are you telling people then that paid $150 for a season pass and?
They still are getting it, I mean, it's still a
They what?
deal. It's still a, I mean, it really is still,
I haven't taken any calls.
Deal, but
Have you-
I had one call.
One call?
So just so I'm curious, because I don't really have a problem with the 100, but just curious. So when we hired him for a part-time, or a certain time period, and we're going over and beyond that time period?
No.
Or we're paying them
We're trying to keep 'em.
$100 because they're doing what they said they would hire for?
Yeah, we're trying to keep them.
Well, a
Trying to
lot of
keep 'em-
them wanted to only work like 40, like 20 hours a week or 25, and they've stepped up and are working a lot more than that. just
Several of
in
them
order
have
for us
2 to
to-
3 jobs. They're working more because we have less lifeguards, keeping them, and doing a great job. The ones that we have are doing a good job, the lifeguards. But they're having to work more.
Well, I know we did
To stay
an
open.
incentive a couple of years ago for the people that hung in there.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem doing that.
Okay, well, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
We have a resolution, though. It's a resolution.
What's the resolution? I'm
Roll
sorry.
call.
Then I'll call for a roll call vote.
Covert,
Aye.
Browner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think that also kind of helps with the wages as far as, several of them wanted quit to go to Fun City that are paying $13 an hour for guards, so kind of,
That'll probably also help that they'll expect it next year, because once you give it to them, they'll always want it.
Well, we're probably going to recommend at least 13 next year for lifeguards. Probably getting away with the stepped increase and just going with a flat rate for lifeguards at a higher rate, probably 13 rather than 12, 12 and a quarter, 12.50, 12.75, 13 after 4 years. So, but we'll have some more discussions on that.
Seeing no citizen inquiries, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support.